Good evening, everyone. Since this will serve also as a pre-final press conference, we'll start by asking Novak to look ahead to Sunday, 10th Australian Open final, but also so much on the line. The winner will also be number one the following Monday. So just talk through all those things and the matchup with Stefanos.
I'm, of course, very satisfied and pleased to be in another Grand Slam finals. I mean, this is exactly what I've imagined and hoped that will happen, you know, when I came to Australia, with the intention to be in a position to fight for another Australian Open trophy. I think that the experience of being in this particular situation and circumstances before helps. I think also the fact that I never lost the Australian Open finals definitely serves as a great confidence booster prior to Sunday. But of course, still the job needs to be done on the court. I'm going to play against Tsitsipas, who is in a great shape, great form, has been playing some of his best tennis. And I'm sure that he's going to be very motivated to win his first Grand Slam title. I know his game pretty well. He knows my game well. We played several times on different surfaces. We played in one Grand Slam finals was on clay though in Roland Garros some years ago. So I know what's ahead of me, and I'm excited. There's, you know, fortunately for me at this stage of my career, because of all the achievements, there's always, basically every match or every tournament, there's always something on the line, particularly when the Grand Slams are played. So, you know, of course, I'm privileged to be in this position, and I'm hoping for the best.
Neil.
Did the situation surrounding your father over the last couple of days and his absence tonight affect your performance and mood earlier in this match? And will he be back on Sunday in the arena?
Well, I saw, as everybody else saw, what happened yesterday, and it was unfortunate that the misinterpretation of what happened yesterday has escalated to such a high level there, where there was I would say a lot of conversations with the tournament director, with media, and everyone else. So it has got to me, of course, as well. And I was not aware of it until last night. And then, of course, I was not pleased to see that. My father, my whole family, and myself have been through several wars during the 90s. So as my father put in a statement, we're against the war. We never will support any violence or any war. We know how devastating that is for the family, for people in any country that is going through the war. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say is that my father, as he said in a statement, has been going after every single match to meet with my fans at the main square here in the Australian Open, to thank them for the support, to be with them, pay them respect, and make photos. And the photo that he made, he was passing through. I heard what he said in the video. He said cheers, and unfortunately some of the media has interpreted that in a really wrong way. So I'm sorry that that has escalated so much, but I hope people understand that there was absolutely no intention whatsoever to support any kind of war initiatives or anything like that. You know, my father, as I said, was passing through, and there was a lot of Serbian flags around, and that's what he thought. He thought he was making photo with somebody, you know, from Serbia, and that's it. He moved on. Of course, that it's not pleasant for me to go through this with all the things that I had to deal with, you know, last year and this year in Australia. So it's not something that I want or need. And I hope that people will let it be, and we can focus on tennis.
Sorry, Sunday. Have you made a decision about whether he's back in the stadium?
Well, let's see. You know, of course, it wasn't, again, pleasant not to have him in the box, you know, but was a decision that we made together, and we just didn't know how things will play out, I guess. Yeah, I hope to have him. I hope he's going to be feeling okay to be in the courts, because I would like to have him there for the finals.
Russell?
Novak, you've won your matches comfortably so far, dropping just the one set, but to me it seems like it's been quite a stressful fortnight for you. I don't know if that is the case, if you feel it's been more stressful than some of your other recent Grand Slams, and if so, what some of the other reasons for that might be.
I don't think it's particularly different in terms of a stress or what I'm going through on the court comparing to most of the other slams I played in my life. I mean, look, it's final stages of a slam at this stage of my career. I know every single Grand Slam is a golden opportunity for me to try to get another trophy, and I don't know how many more I'll have opportunities. So, of course, I feel it, I feel pressure, I feel stress as any other player, I feel nerves, I feel excitement. There's a lot of different emotions that go through. Today, in the first set, obviously 5-1 up and serving for the set and having a set point, and then things quickly changed, and I was really tight on the court. We came back to 5-all, and I was struggling also physically, and emotionally, and I guess in this kind of particular matches at the final stages of a slam, you can expect to have crisis, 1 or 2 or 3 crises. The less the better, but I did have, and I'm really glad to overcome that crisis towards the end of the first set, and then it was quite smooth sailing, I would say, from the beginning of the second towards the end of the match. Early in the second, early in the third, I managed to make an early break, distance myself results-wise, and finished off the match in good style.
It's a very unique final. We've got a Greek versus a Serbian, huge communities in this city. But we've heard some hecklers, we've seen some unacceptable scenes of Russian fans. How important is it that individuals do not overstep the mark on the final on Sunday?
Well, I hope that all the people who are going to come to the finals are going to be there for tennis and sport, because that's what we all wish for. We all wish that players, fans focus on tennis and celebrate this beautiful sport, and marvel one of the most special matches throughout the year, which is slam final. There's 4 slams, and this is one of them. So, I'm again really excited and privileged to be in that finals against Tsitsipas. You mentioned the communities, Serbian and Greek communities are big for sure. The Serbs and Greeks historically get along very well, so I just don't think that there's going to be any conflict on and off the court in terms of the crowd. In contrary, I think I'm confident that people will support their respective players in a respectful way, and let's see what happens.
Great.
You just touched on every time you're on court or in a tournament you want to hold the trophy. What would you say, or have you thought of what the end game is for you, the end goal? What do you want to, when the time comes, and I'm not trying to retire you, but when the time comes, what would you be satisfied that you've achieved?
I don't think there is a simple answer to that question, to be honest, because I was mentioning before that I played professional tennis for several different reasons. Some personal reason is that I feel that on the tennis court I always have an opportunity to learn something new about myself, and I guess fight with my own demons, and that I guess we all have. And when on the tennis court, in the midst of the battle, some of the things surface, and I have to deal with it. So it's a great school of life for me. And then at the same time, of course, I have professional goals and ambitions, and those are Grand Slams and being number one in the world. Those two probably pinnacles of the professional tennis world have always been there as goals for me. So I do want to make more history of this sport, no doubt. I feel game-wise, physically, I still can sustain and maintain the top level. So as long as that's the case, why not, keep going? I don't know when the end is going to happen in terms of professional career. Right now I have motivation, I have support of the close ones, which is also something that is probably underestimated and not maybe talked about a lot, but it's a key, especially as a father. I mean, being absent from the children is not something that makes me very happy. But I think it's a balancing act, between me and my wife and the closest people in my life. So her being there for our children and everything, it allows me to be able to do what I love and still make some strides, significant strides in this sport.
Novak, last year's deportation, has that been playing on your mind over the past 2 weeks? And now that you're into the final, congratulations. But
Thank you.
Is that something now that you want to... Will it be relief if you win after everything that happened last year here?
Honestly, I'm over it. I mean, once I came into Australia, my intentions were always, very positive to come back. Of course, the feelings of coming back to Australia this year were different than any other year because of the events of last year. But, I said many times that I don't hold any grudges, that I just love playing in Australia, love being here. And that kind of emotion, I feel like, helped me to feel comfortable and to play well, because I won Adelaide and now I'm in the finals of the Australian Open, so I haven't lost a match in last 5 weeks in Australia, and I'm really glad to be here and play that well.
Mark?
Novak, I was just hoping you could give us an insight into how you handle the intense scrutiny that you deal with. Just this past fortnight, there's obviously the talk about your hamstring, there's the toilet break, there's the drinks, and now obviously your father. Like, I've just rolled off 4 things just there, and this is just a normal part of your life. But how do you handle it and continue to succeed?
I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but you really have to accept it, It's much easier said than done. In my case, I feel like things are just kind of piling on, adding on, somehow, for one reason or another. And I mean, it's not an ideal situation or circumstances to be in when you have to kind of deal with all these other outside factors that are not really necessary during such an important event, But it's been part of my life, and fortunately the last few years more so, and I just try to evolve from it. I try to become more resilient, more stronger, and I also don't, I think with the experience that I have with my routines, I feel like I'm strong enough to know what I need to do, when I need to do certain things. So I'm able to switch off, and then I have, of course, a team of people around me, and my, family members who are staying with me, close, in the same accommodation or spending an entire day with me. And then I have an agreement with them that they give me this kind of protection, and I don't want to hear things about, what was written in this article or that news or that news. I want to keep my mind as sane or serene as possible in order to conserve the vital energy that I need for the court. But in one way or another today, information comes to you. So when it does, it's there. So then you have to, find a way just to kind of accept, let it go, and just not allow it to consume your day, or or turn your state of mind into something that you don't want, especially before semifinals or finals of a Grand Slam. So, these are the moments where you're just like, okay, now it's about locking in. It's about creating your own space with your own people, being comfortable, and just trying to focus on what matters.
Last one, Matt.
Just quick, sorry, I apologise. When did you feel like this scrutiny, this level of scrutiny started? How far back?
I mean, look, there's no reason really to go into it. I mean, I've had throughout my career quite a few situations where, I had to deal with quite a lot of things, So it's right now it's tough for me, and also to pick one or date when it started to happen. It just kind of comes and goes. It really depends. Depends on some circumstances. Depends on, I guess the energy, the vibe, or whatever. It depends on a lot of things, a lot of factors. It's tough to say.
Last one.
You said before that the thing with your father was misinterpreted. Did you discuss with him how important it might be, given your platform, for him to be careful, because it might be a reflection of how he or you or your family feels about an issue like the Russian invasion?
Well, as I've already explained myself, and he explained himself what happened. So there was no intention, and now you're basically asking me a question like he did it intentionally, and like he's not being careful about what he's doing. It can happen to many people what happened to him. He was passing through, made a photo, it has escalated. He was misused in this situation by this group of people, and that's what happened. So I can't be angry with him or upset because, it was, I can say, not his fault. I mean, he went out to celebrate with my fans, and that's it. That's all it happened. After that, of course, he felt bad because of me and what he knew how that's gonna reflect on me and the whole media pressure and everything that has happened in the last 24 hours or 48 hours. But, it is what it is. You accept it and you move on.
Thank you.